It's Thursday morning. Lorraine and I have finished our training, and I'm getting ready to take our Labrador Retriever Mackenzie over to this a nice little park that's just a few short steps away from the factory dock where we're doing our training. So that's been really convenient. And so when we get back, we'll be packing up and getting ready to head out. We had originally thought we'd take a relatively leisurely trip back, stopping maybe at Port Townsend or Coupeville. But given that the weather was forecast to be fairly breezy today and over the next few days, we figured that we'd just go ahead and head straight back. And also because of that, we said, well, maybe this would be a good day to test our gyro system. So we went through the usual process of getting it started while on shore power, getting the boat ready to go, and then disconnecting it, starting up the generator again. And anyway, so that all happened, and we'll see how that worked out for us. As you can see here, we're looking at the bow, and we're getting a lot of wave action. The bow's not moving much, but a little bit. And as we switch over, looking at the display on the controller, you can see we're swinging up to like 18s and 20s. In some places, it was 20s to 30s, so a lot of roll action. But looking out to the side and from the front too, you really can't see a whole lot of motion. And I think we felt like it was really working well, and it was a very comfortable ride compared to what I think it would have been had we not had that. Here's Lorraine at the helm. We're both really liking the intuitive nature of the joystick driving, as well as how comfortable the ride is while the gyro is running. You can see from the outside there, we're still in kind of snotty weather. We ended up running the gyro for maybe 4 hours. Once we got between Whidbey Island and Kamano Island, we were kind of protected from the south winds by Whidbey, so we felt like we didn't need it at that point and shut it off. And then continued on up to the south end of the Swinomish Channel. Ended up, looking for the range markers, lining those up, and then heading down there. It was right at low tide, minus half a foot tide, so made the channel quite shallow, but it also made the boundaries really easy to see. Around halfway down the channel, we saw this colony of seals that had hauled out onto the banks there on the north side of the channel. We ended up stopping in Le Conner and getting fuel there. So we filled up all the tanks. Our home port, Birch Bay Village, has gas at the marina, but not diesel. So this would be a good way to get us topped off for our next trip. We also added 3 gallons to the generator fuel tank. So that was pretty efficient, running it for about 4 hours and using 3 gallons, so a little bit less than a gallon per hour for the generator. We ended up, we were bucking the winds, waves, and a flood current, so our miles per gallon were not particularly stellar, but it did improve quite a bit when we made the run up to Birch Bay Village. And we also found that there was sort of a sweeter, the opposite of a sweet spot, I guess, somewhere around 2,200 RPMs was the worst fuel economy, 2,000, 2,250, but actually improved as we went up to 2,500 and 2,750 RPMs. So that's learning for us. While we were getting fuel at Le Conner, the attendant came over and brought out this neat little device that uses these suction cups, attaches to the side of the boat, and a kind of a rubber grommet that fits over the fuel vent, preventing any fuel from spilling out the vent and into the water. And it worked really well. So I ended up buying one from them. He had mentioned that the original manufacturer had gone out of business, but somehow he had a couple dozen of them still for sale at his store. So I've got one of these, and it seemed like a pretty cool tool. Well, we're home now, safe and sound. We've got our boat parked in our marina, and I'm standing on our deck looking down over Birch Bay and panning over the marina And off in the distance you can see Mount Baker there. So it's a beautiful night. And finally, thanks to all the Ranger Tug staff that helped us in our training and spent some very patient moments with us as we were trying to learn all of the different systems. So Ivan and Kenny and Tim, you guys are great. Appreciate it all.